go. Nice. All right, here we go. It is time. It is recording in 3, 2, 1.
He's got his hi-fi, his boob tube, and his instant pizza pie.
If this stuff is too nice for you, I've got some crap.
The morning stream. What do you say? We get nipple to nipple.
Sure, why not? Hey, everybody, welcome to TMS. It's the morning stream for Thursday, December 12th, 2024. Now, that's cool because you got a 12, 12. Add those together, you get a 24. Right?
That is good. That is this one qualifies as great numerology today.
Yeah, not bad. That's Brian. I'm Scott, and we're here to do a show on a Thursday.
We are here with our little corner of the internet.
Yeah, and
our little carpeted corner of the internet.
Yeah, padded walls.
Oriental rug.
Sure.
You put all your equipment on, your musical equipment.
Do you have, by the way, I've never asked you this, and I don't know why it even matters, but do you have foam anywhere in your office to like deaden sound and that sort of thing? Or do you not worry about that? You do have that?
Yeah, I have some right up here. You can't see it.
Okay, same with me. Mine's on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I was just curious because they always say, put some of that around. You won't even need much. I even have a stack of it that's unused right now, but right above me with carpenter's tape. It's very
I've got the
lame.
drop ceiling with the acoustical tile.
It's great.
It is great. Yeah, it is. And but I want too much other crap on my walls to put up acoustical tile everywhere else. I see it on a lot of the backgrounds of YouTube videos where they're like, oh yeah, and they do the thing where they have to hold their lav.
Oh yeah, I hate that so much. Hate it.
Okay, so thanks for clicking subscribe. And the whole background is all like offset, trendy looking acoustical tile with a glowing light positioned with a purple or a pink behind it.
I hate these things, but I also, they probably work, and it annoys me that they do. Like, it annoys me that people like it.
Exactly.
Because I'm an old-fashioned, like, I'm like Tom Waits in that scene from Book of Eli where he's just got shit everywhere behind him. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that's the thing anymore. I think people maybe, we're of a generation that liked a lot of shit in the background, but I don't know.
Man. The Getting Lost documentary, by the way.
Gotta watch that.
Yeah, once it becomes available, I'm gonna recommendal the hell out of it. But Damon Lindelof. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Damon.
You got a clip?
Lindelof's office. I don't have a clip, but I wonder if there's photos of it. So he has the interviews that Damon Lindelof does. You see the background behind him, and it is this. Like, it is what I've got behind me.
Yeah.
It's like, Captain America's shield and some little action figures on the counter, and then this, and then a little AT&T, a little AT&T Walker, from AT&T.
Yeah, he's a big fan of AT&T, real big fan.
Big fan of AT&T. And then right behind him, just directly behind him, is Pee Wee Herman's freaking bicycle.
What?
The big, like, full-size Pee Wee Herman's bicycle.
The actual, the movie prop? Probably?
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
I mean, he's a big shot. He probably has ways of getting stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah.
I would be jealous of that. That's the thing. I would proudly display a bike like that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't see any photos of his office online.
Well, he's old like us, so it makes sense, right? He likes all the shit in the background. He's a fan.
He absolutely does.
Yeah. All right. Well, good job. You know who's older than us is that other one. Who's his co-writer guy?
Carlton Hughes.
Hughes. Yeah, that guy's like 100 now. He's probably got dead bodies behind him or something. Who knows what he's got. Anyway.
I mean, I'd still, again, Carlton Hughes, he'd be another person. It'd be great to be stuck in an elevator with, because it'd be great talking to him and hearing, what he's got. He's actually only 10 years older than us. He was born 1959, so 65. But he looks, I think he's just had really, really light hair. So he just looks older than us.
Yeah, when he was doing Lost and he was in his late 40s, he looked old.
Yeah.
So I think that's just his deal. But he'd be fascinating. He's had his hands in all kinds of shows I'd want to talk about, not just Lost, like Carnival and what was
Lethal Weapon 2 and 3 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh shit! I didn't know he co-wrote on that.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. But that's even better. I thought it was just like TV shows and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah. Bates Motel.
They do that. What's the one not Area 51? The one about aliens and shit. No, Roswell. He did that, I think.
Oh, did he?
Had a hand. I liked Roswell a lot.
Never saw any of that.
That was a cool show.
Yeah.
It's a little WB for my taste, but still, I enjoyed it.
The Ringer called his episode "The Constant" of Lost, written by Hughes and Lindelof, the top TV episode of the century.
I'm sorry, of the century, you say?
Of the century, but they did that in 2005.
Yeah,
so.
the century. That's awful early to call it, isn't it?
From 1905 to 2005, or are they saying, or no, that would be a century. Or are they saying 2005 to 2105, like just pre saying? I mean, it's a great episode. Don't get me wrong.
It is, but it also that's calling the winter a little too early. I think you got to give it some time.
It kind of is, yeah. People are just looking at his page here.
It's a weird award to give out.
It's a weird flex, not flex, but a weird award to give out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, Carlton Cuse, rest his soul.
Cuse.
Just kidding, he's alive. He's around.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, let's not.
Let's not do that. None of these names we mentioned today need to have any trouble. We're all good.
No, this is true.
We got some stuff to talk about. We got an anonymous text from somebody who piped in. I said cued in because of Carlton Cuse. Piped in about the Bond movie, the 26th Bond movie.
Right.
Which we got in a little bit of a back and forth with Randy on trying to understand where this movie is or what it is. Yeah. And this anonymous texter says the 26th Bond movie is Never Say Never, the non-Eon Thunderball remake. I don't know what it means, Eon. Yeah. What does that mean?
Eon is the production company with the Broccoli's, and so it's non-canon.
Which we said
never say never again, and we talked about this incessantly, saying, never say never, because if you count Never Say Never Again, you have to count Casino Royale, the comedy, the parody, and neither of those are canon, and neither of those are part of the 25 Bond movies.
Yeah, you have to go canonical for this list, I think, or else what are we doing?
Absolutely.
You can still mention them and say, okay, canonically 25, non-canonically 2 others.
27.
That's fine.
But
I don't think there's a 26th movie like in the canon.
No, and there have been documentaries about James Bond. Do you count those? Even though they're not story canon, but are they? They're James Bond films, so you have to count those too.
Yeah, that's true. So I think 25 is the number, and we'll fight anyone who says
25 is the number. Yeah. And it's funny because I remember there being a big deal about Bond. So and so is going to do the music for Bond 25, and I didn't remember that it was No Time to Die. I didn't remember that it was Billie Eilish, but.
Right. I remember
that was like the big hubbub back in 2018 because they had to delay. The pandemic really pushed No Time to Die out a bit, but I remember seeing Bond 25 everywhere, and I didn't realize that was the movie that was Bond 25.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. Have him go out on 25, nice number,
It is. It's good.
All that. And then 26 will possibly be the guy we were just talking about, Craven the Hunter.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
He's high up on lists, I guess, of a potential Bond, so.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, somewhere I read that he's in the running. He's higher in the running than most people think, according to like insider Hollywood people. But I can't remember the rest of the list. There was other people. And
it still blows my mind that he's English.
I know. I forget every time.
I don't think I've seen him do anything but an American accent.
I don't think I have either. Craven's in English.
Oh, right? I guess. Well, I mean, you take that back. I mean, in Ultron, he was he and Wanda both had Latvian accents.
Yeah,
where they were.
Yeah, and Wanda's very, very conveniently forgotten her accent.
Very quickly faded away before Infinity War. Civil War, I think it disappeared.
We need a whole 6-episode arc of how she lost her accent. That would be great. Get in there.
Right.
I mean, she's a witch. She's got all this power. Perhaps that's how. I don't know.
Listen, she can create a world that looks like I Love Lucy. She can lose an accent. I think it's pretty easy to.
Yeah, you can. My brain can make that connection. She was doing it with a robot man. What else can you expect from a lady like that?
I mean, it was kind of Benjamin 06 says it was 006, my favorite 00 agent. He says it was explained in WandaVision. It kind of was, right? Like when she was outside of those Westview hexes.
Yeah.
Her accent was kind of back. It was a nice little.
It was a nice touch, yeah.
Nice touch to kind of, but
she had lost it in Endgame, and Infinity War. It was gone in those. And they hadn't gotten to WandaVision yet. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's not a big deal. Like, I don't even think it's not even as egregious as what they do with Princess Leia in the first Star Wars movie. Like, that stuff is heinous. It's like,
I smelled your foul stink on board the moment I was brought on.
Yeah, and then later, move this walking carpet out of my way.
Pip. Yeah. Move this walking carpet out of my way.
So silly. Anyway.
Yeah. You're a little small for a stormtrooper.
Hello. I mean, I'm kind of glad she lost it because I prefer her without it. But why have it in the first place? It's so dumb.
Right.
I've heard some. I saw some YouTube channel where a guy tried to explain it, and he was like, I mean, he was kind of mansplaining it, but he was basically like, well, in her official capacity as a Alderaan representative and a princess, she needed to evoke a more proper hoo-ha, whatever. And I'm like, okay. I'm sure that was it.
Whatever. I mean, she was.
I have a feeling it's George Lucas on set going, why don't you try that accent we worked on? That's what he.
All of our extras have the accent. Maybe you could just do it like that.
Yeah. Does somebody get me a turtleneck? This one's falling apart.
I already have a turtleneck and it's not a shirt.
Your George Lucas is dangerously close to your Ken Kratz.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah,
those two guys.
I will leave the Lucas to you happily, but yeah,
I like it though because it invokes Ken Kratz, and I love your Ken Kratz.
It's less about how I say it, Scott, than what I say.
Right, it's the words, not the
it's
method.
The words.
I get it. We also got an email to follow up on some of that big pharma stuff and why they do advertising and where they don't and that sort of thing. Thought this was really interesting. Robert from Hendertucky wrote in. He does quite often. Says, morning, Singular and Bear. Singular is a brand, but I don't know what they make.
Singular.
They do like a...
Probably respiratory or a...
Oh, that would make sense, right?
Yeah, Singular.
Yeah. Bayer, of course, giant corporation who kind of sucks.
Yeah, aspirin. Aspirin folks.
Poo-poo heads. I think they own like some big food.
Asthma and allergy drug, by the way, is Singular.
Singular. Bayer owns like a bunch of food now or something. We shouldn't trust them.
Do they really?
Yeah, we shouldn't trust them. They're weird. I don't like them.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says, on Thursday's show, and this is a couple Thursdays ago, you discussed the fact that the U.S. and New Zealand are the only two countries that allow pharmaceutical ads. The pros and cons you found were pretty lame. I know they weren't your lists, but and you weren't making an argument. You put an extra were in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, the con was that viewers might not know that there's a generic available. Rarely do pharmas advertise if there is a generic. Also, pharmaceuticals or pharmacies tend to automatically fill generics unless expressly ordered by your doctor. That's true. I've gone into my pharmacy before, and my doc will have said, here's the thing you're getting, and I'll go in and I'll say, well, we're giving you generics because it's only like 22 cents on your insurance.
I love it when they do that.
Yeah, it's like, you want to pay that?
I'll take it.
Yeah, and I'm happy that one aspect, that tiny, minuscule aspect of our healthcare system is sometimes in your favor. Very rarely, but sometimes.
Yes, right, correct. Yeah.
And don't come at me with, well, here in Britain, we just go in and it doesn't matter what it is, the brand name or otherwise, it's for free. I know, we know. All right. Anyway, he says the other was that the ads will make people want meds they don't need. If your doctor prescribes a med that you don't need, then your doctor is the problem. That was based, I think, on some of the feedback we got. Anyway, he says, I saw an ad for a new med that I thought might benefit me. I asked my doctor, let's see, like the ad told me to, and they all do, don't they?
Yeah, because it does. Yeah, ask your doctor if such and such is right for you.
Yeah, my doctor agreed. I asked him directly if he would have suggested this new med. He said no. So the way I see it, we have our own advocate. Pharma ads are we are our own advocate. Pharma ads are just information. We should not be afraid of information. Unless it's Information Society, in which case they're a scary band. You should watch out. Just kidding.
But they are pure energy.
They're pure energy.
Pure energy.
According to Leonard Nimoy. Anyway.
That's right.
Says here, there's a fun fact. Ozempic is owned and manufactured by the Danish company Novo Nordisk, which I always thought was a tech company, by the way.
Yeah, because of the disc.
Yeah, I think
Nordisk.
so. Like Nordisk sounds like a competitor to the Zip Drive.
Zip Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what are you guys getting?
The Novo Nordisk holds 125 megabytes. That's the one I want.
Yeah, my Pentium 3's hard drive's running out of space. What should I get? I'm thinking the Nordisk is pretty good this time.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
SCSI interface, all that. Anyway, it says they advertise in the U.S. because they can. They charge prices here that aren't allowed. They are not allowed to charge back home. I guess pharma companies are the same everywhere. That's true. When you get that particular medication, Ozempic, which is originally, well, it still is, but it's for diabetics. Here in the States, they charge exorbitant amounts of money because people buy it like crazy for like weight loss and for looking better. Right. And by the way, and I'm going to tell you this, and I believe this to be 100% true. You can come at me all you want, but everybody in Hollywood who suddenly shows up at an event and they've lost like 30 pounds, and they go, "Oh, it's just I've changed my lifestyle. I'm doing this and that." Do not believe them. They're lying to you. They're on Ozempic, and they can afford it because they're freaking millionaire Hollywood people. They can pay the $1,500 a month it costs outside of insurance. So just know that, okay? When you see John Goodman, don't go, "Yeah, John Goodman, you're hitting the gym." No, he isn't.
Well, I think he started looking better before Ozempic. I think John Goodman may have actually put in the work.
Maybe.
But there is somebody in my life who's on Ozempic for health reasons, and it has affected. Obviously, they've lost weight because of it. Mm-hmm. But so there might be some situations where their weight was causing some health issues, and so
100%. I just hate that because it's the weight loss thing du jour. It's making it hard for just regular people to get it, and insurance companies aren't letting you do it.
They should admit it. For sure. 100%.
Yeah. I have no problem with that. Yeah. Especially if you're diabetic, man. This stuff's a lifesaver. It's huge.
I know. And make it cheaper and make it available to me.
Yeah. Nordisk. Novo Nordisk. You buttholes. Right,
exactly.
Anyway, he says, P.S. I would love to hear what Dan, the pill pusher man, thinks about the ads. That's pretty great. I love that.
It's great. Listen, the pill pusher man is the guy who will say, "Hey, there's a generic version. I'm going to give you that one instead." Mm-hmm. So
I should have, what I should have done. I think it would have been timing. I just didn't see it yet, but we should have read this when he was here. Yeah, because he would have been great for it.
We'll hear from him in our little group chat that we've got.
That's true. We could ask him there and find out next time he's on.
But those commercials. I mean, the commercials are the one thing people are really bad at is separating what they need from what they want. And when they watch those commercials that have, people running in the park or eating a giant banana split or whatever, and they say, "Oh, I want to be able to do that. What do I need?" And they see the medicine. They don't care. Like, it's not a matter of, "Oh, what are the symptoms this thing fixes?" Because you WebMD this stuff all the time. Not you personally, but people do, where they're saying, "Oh yeah, I do feel a little lethargic now that you mention," or I do have occasional aches and pains.
Yeah,
maybe I do need this."
And that would be you're right on to what my reply was going to be, which is, I understand what he means. Don't be afraid of information, but sometimes this stuff, as advertised, can be a little misinforming. Yes. Because they're trying to sell you something, not trying to inform you, which is part of the word information. You can't spell information without inform. So when they're not properly informing people, you need the doctor side of it, or at least that will help. And they're also vulnerable people who are going to be more likely to fall for, not scammed outright, but they're going to see this and go, "Oh, this will solve all my problems. I'm going to go out and get it," without really reading into it or understanding what the risks are. Because they're in a vulnerable position. That's my issue. I'm not. Of course, there are going to be people out there who are like, "I don't believe anything until I check it myself and do my own research," and all those people. I get it. I get that those people exist, but not everyone's like that. And so there's a reason this stuff's illegal in other countries. Whether or not we agree that it's a stone's throw too far is a different argument. But I understand why they would want to tamp that down, because advertising is inherently trying to convince you to do a thing, and they're not going to tell you the negatives. They're going to try to avoid the negatives the best they can. And even these ads do it.
they're going to diminish those as little as possible in the commercials, even where may cause bleeding and internal poopage and death and da-da-da. But it's while that guy's catching a frisbee. It's like, hey, hold on with your talking. I'm looking at this guy catching a frisbee and throwing it to his dog.
100%. What you're seeing visual is not matching with a guy who has bloody diarrhea 20 times a day.
Right. Show the symptoms visually, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. So I think that's all there is to that.
Internal poopage, whatever.
Internal poopage.
You try and come up with a negative symptom on the spot, people.
I did like how you had bleeding and then internal poopage. Uh-huh. It could have been internal bleeding.
Because I could have done internal bleeding and poopage.
Yeah, but I say have both. Internal bleeding, poopage.
Listen, what sounds worse, internal bleeding or internal poopage?
The second one.
I think I'd rather take the internal bleeding. Thank you very much.
Well,
Doctor,
anyway.
it just goes in.
It's all backwards.
It's all backwards.
It's like that
full of shit.
That episode of South Park where they all poop out of their mouth. It's a horrible episode. Have you ever seen that? Oh, man.
The human caterpillar episode?
It is so... It's not even that one. It's like...
I know.
I can't remember what it was. What was the point of it? Was it It's not the one where they're all driving Priuses. I can't remember. It's horrifying. Don't watch that episode. It's not good. I mean, it is good.
Hope you're all done with your breakfast, by the way.
Yeah, swallow that last hunk of egg bacon or whatever you ate there. Egg bacon. All right, it's time for
I actually cooked. So we made bacon about a week ago.
Oh yeah.
And Tina was getting ready to dump the bacon fat remaining in the pan into a can that we keep in the fridge just to store all the fat until we throw the whole can away. And I said, "Oh, hold on to that bacon fat. No, keep that." And we poured it into a separate little ceramic thing that we keep in the fridge.
Yeah.
And then when I cook eggs, scoop a little bit of that bacon fat, put it in the pan, and let that be the nonstick stuff that I use to make the eggs. And chef's kiss. It's so good.
We had a group of friends, and we had someone rage quit our friend group because someone did that without asking him if he wanted to use the bacon fat.
Like they poured out the bacon fat and...
Yeah, this guy's name was John.
Somebody freaked out and said no and left?
Well, so this guy's name was John. That's all I'll say. And we were at a camp out, and we were a big group thing. Everybody was there. I think we may have only just gone for the day. I don't think we slept there. But we were there for the day, and they were making breakfast, and somebody made bacon first, right?
Yeah.
Poured the bacon grease into a thing, and then they're like, all right, time for the eggs and the pancakes and the whatever, and they used the bacon grease for the pan to do that, like you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm all for. Freaking best thing ever. It's so good.
It is.
I mean, probably not good for your heart.
Some of the suggestions or not comments from people in the chat about, can we start a pool on Brian's impending stroke?
Yeah, it's not something you want to do every day necessarily, but exactly. Once in a while, it's a little treat.
A couple times a week, I'll pull out. If I'm not doing toast, like usually it'll be 2 eggs and a piece of toast, and a piece of like wheat toast is my breakfast. Mm-hmm. And if I don't do toast, I don't do any butter or anything, then it's like, all right, I'll live a little on the other side and use bacon grease. Now, again, keep in mind, there's still a lot of bacon, or there's still some bacon grease left in the pan after I very carefully spatula out my eggs onto a plate.
Sure.
So I'm not using, and it's certainly not a spoonful. It's like,
no.
God, it is literally like a pea-sized piece of this bacon.
It's not even like as much as you'd use butter and stuff. I agree with you. You don't go crazy with it. But this guy got so mad that we did that. I didn't do it. Someone else was making it. Mm-hmm. But when they put the bacon grease in there, and then they fed everybody the pancakes or whatever was next, and he was eating some of it, and they're like, "Oh, that bacon grease really helps it," and he loses it. He literally throws his thing, stands up, because he's a vegetarian and nobody told him they were doing this.
Oh, shit. Well, that is a very valid, yeah.
He was so mad that he threw his plate down, rage quit the camp, left in his car.
Yeah.
Or before he did that, he went off in the woods and made himself hurl into the woods.
Okay, yeah.
And then left. And I think that's the last time that guy, he never hung out again.
Vegetarianism, was it because of religious reasons, or was it he just
he just hated meat
as murder, Morrissey kind of thing?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, he didn't seem to he didn't have a problem with everyone else having bacon. He wasn't like that militant about it, but
sure
he was really upset that nobody told him. And I totally got it, but I just thought I just think ending everyone's friendship was a little harsh.
That is a little harsh. Yeah, we had So we had our friends over, friends that we've known for a long time. They came over, and the guy in the couple brought his sister as well, and she's vegan, and they were coming over for barbecue, and so I got the grill out and I started cooking burgers, and then she had a special veggie patty that I cooked up for her.
Sure.
And she's like, "You're not going to cook that on the same burners that you're cooking the meat on." I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. I'm glad you said something, because I was planning on it. Like, I was planning on,
sure,
having it all on the same grill, and easily juice from the meat could, make its way down the little bar
Sure.
to your patty." So I basically had like a thing where I could separate the grates, and I did a really good scrubbing job on the one I cooked hers on, so there was no residual creosote from meat.
Yeah.
and then cooked her patty on there. But,
oh my gosh, creosote. Is that why that guy's named Creosote?
Yeah, I think so.
My gosh, I never put the two together. Because he's a big
another wafer thin mint.
Yeah, he's a big greasy meat-eating fool. Also, this reminds me of that episode of is it George who does it? It's a Seinfeld episode where I think it's George trying to get back at a girl who saw, the one that saw a shrinked weenie from being in the pool.
Oh yeah. It was cold.
Yeah, he gets her back by putting
oh, right. Like,
what do you call it?
Oh,
Lobster.
do you like the vegan potatoes or whatever it is? Yeah.
I think it was eggs,
the bacon
right?
fat or something. Or
she's all mad. She goes,
yeah.
these eggs are amazing, George. What'd you do? And he's like,
the lobster. That's it. He used the
lobster
from the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I guess the chat probably knows. Let's see.
Yeah,
Tim, you predicted it. I didn't see your post. He says,
did he already say it?
He just says, how long before Scott Johnson remembers the similar Seinfeld episode? That's it.
Oh, thank you, Tim.
Well done, Tim. Jeez Louise.
Yeah,
that's amazing. All right, let's do some new. Oh, I got to tell you this quick story.
You might like it with this. That's right.
Yeah.
Hands her the lobster bib.
Yeah, it's like a bib, right?
Star. Yes.
And then she freaks out, and that's a great episode, actually. It's pretty good revenge for seeing your shrunk up, self.
Yeah, I think so. And blabbing about it.
Yeah, because she laughed and was rude about it and all that.
Exactly. And it's a real problem, ladies.
Oh, it's a huge problem. You don't have you have no idea. What do you have that shrinks? Nothing. As far as I know.
Show title. Bang yes. What do you have that shrinks?
That's going in.
Yep.
All right. I did one quick thing. This is a word of warning. It's funny because Brian and I were talking this pre-show before we even got to you guys about how our wives like to turn stuff off when we leave, just to be safe. You're out of town. You don't want certain appliances to catch on fire, that kind of stuff. And I should have been thinking this way myself yesterday because while nobody was around, I decided to heat up some jambalaya. And as you know, our microwave is still currently on the fritz.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Jeff Sire, I know there's a way to fix it.
Darn magnetron.
I've been too busy to fix the magnetron. I've just been too busy. So don't come at me, everybody. I just am cooking things manually. It's fine. Takes a little longer, no big deal. But I'm wearing long sleeves. It's kind of cold yesterday. It was like 25 degrees all day or some crazy low number. Right? Do the thing. Yeah. Got the gas stove.
I'm envious that you've got a gas stove.
Love our gas stove.
We've got an induction glass top, which I love. But if we didn't have that, I would love a gas stove.
Yeah. Gas stoves are pretty cool. So it's running, and I'm wearing long sleeves. And at some point, I put my hand down near the handle thing. And then I see smoke, and I smell a burn that is not the food. And I'm like, what is going on? And I move back like this, and what the heck's going on? This sleeve, not the shirt. I've thrown that shirt away. This sleeve of the shirt I was wearing, it's on fire. It's on fire.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. And so what do? I go.
I imagine you first went, ha, 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 ha.
Well, I went, oh, la, 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 like that, kind of like when I'm playing a horror game.
Mark Knopfler's penis.
And I go, like that. Doesn't work. It's just sort of like going, hurt, moving, but it's not actually putting it out. Yeah. So I take this raw-ass man hand and go, like that, and that worked to put it out.
Yep.
So
cool. Yeah.
Anyway, won't be doing that again.
Nicely done.
Yeah, so
won't be cooking for myself again. That'll teach me.
Yeah, learn from me, guys. If I'd have had a glass top or whatever instead of the thing, I wouldn't have caught on fire. Anyway.
I will say, here's the only problem with these headphones. that I've had is that they block out other sound. And so when I'm doing these kyber crystal holders, the 3D printed kyber crystal holders, the light that goes, the LED that goes inside doesn't just go inside really easily. I have to take it over to I have a heat gun set up. And it's pointed straight up. So basically the heat gun is on its back. It's got a nice little stand that it sits in and points straight up. So what I can do is I can turn it on with one hand and then hold the kyber crystal holder over it and then try and get the light in. Nope, a little bit more heat, a little more heat, a little more heat. And then nope, and then finally a little more heat. Now I can get the light in. Great.
Sure.
And without hearing, because I'm listening to music and this cuts out all other sound, I didn't think that I hit the switch, but it's got two modes, like a Fires of Mordor and then the sun. the two settings.
Wow, I was thinking the Fires of Mordor was the top one, but the sun.
Yeah, no, the sun is the top one. Jeez. And I turned it from sun to Fires of Mordor, thinking that I had turned it off, and I went away and came back, and then like an hour later, I came back and I didn't have my headphones on. What am I hearing? Is the 3D printer on? And I go in there. It's like, oh crap! This thing is just blowing straight up. Fortunately, there's nothing close enough for it to even get warm. The ceiling is high enough that the ceiling wasn't even warm. The curtains are far away, but it's like that could have gone really bad.
That gives you pause, doesn't it? I don't like that.
It does, exactly. You think about, crap, this could have been, like if the cat would have gone in there, rubbed against the cord on that, maybe it would have fallen over or something.
You'd have a Sphinx cat by now. She would lose all her hair.
Nara.
Yeah,
curled up in a little circle right here next to me. I need a cat cam.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I need to hurry up and put the.
I'm looking forward to that. You can put it right there, right? Move that and stick it there. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, watch
new album in here, by the way. It's Class Clown.
Oh, look at that.
George Carlin.
Nothing wrong with that. Great album.
When I went off to college, I stole a lot of my stepdad's records, and you can tell this one got a lot of use. Like it's got that worn out from being pulled in and out of the the sleeve or the
stuff. His denim years, man. He wore a lot of denim.
His denim years. This one doesn't. Look at this. What kind of barbarian am I?
There's gosh.
Not even an insert sleeve in this one. It is just loose.
It's raw dog in that thing.
Raw dog in the cardboard.
Not good. You got to get a nice little Protecto in there, a little Protecto sleeve.
Man, I saw that and I almost said the 7 words you can't say on television.
Is that the album? Has that on there?
It's the album. Yeah, it's the album. That's how I learned how to.
That's a huge breakout.
And it's also got his hip.
That's how I used to listen.
I think it opens with that.
I used to listen to Eddie Murphy and Bill Cosby and have all those things memorized. Unfortunately, one of them I can't do in pleasant company. And the other one turned out to be a douchebag rapist butthole. So
yeah, who knew?
Great stuff. All right, let's get to the news. We got some news, guys. You're gonna have to just groove on the news. Here we go. It's time for the news, brought to you by
Bang yes. Candle's Quest is what this news segment's brought to you by. A Minecraft treasure hunt. It starts as a book, a collection of short stories, paintings, and puzzles that becomes a treasure map. Solve the puzzles to find Minecraft world seeds. Follow the map through the worlds to find treasure blocks. The first to find all the treasure blocks is eligible to claim a real-life, one-of-a-kind treasure. How cool is this? Yeah. You can read more at candlesquest.com. That's CANDLESQUEST.com.
Yeah, and big thanks to them sending Brian an email, and then Brian forwarded it to me. And I'm really glad you did, because this is very cool. And if you have a cool project you're working on, let us know. Like, you can put it in the promote you thing on Discord, but if you're not using Discord, it's okay. Email us the info. Go to the website, themorningstream@gmail.com, or you can use the text line, even, whatever. Give us what cool project you're working on, and we like to talk about them on the show. Bring them up on the news. So let us know.
There's a lot. I'm looking at like what you could win, the first treasure, and it's really, really cool. So, folks, if you like Minecraft, dudes, you should do this.
Yeah, check it out. That's right.
Do this and don't see that Jack Black movie that's coming out.
Oh, I'm so worried. I'm not worried because I don't care.
I'm really worried about that. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be bad. Looks bad.
I feel like Jack Black is on autopilot. Kid movie autopilot right now.
Yeah, that devil thing that we talked about yesterday. What's that
Dear
called?
Santa.
Dear Santa.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I know.
Really poorly reviewed. All right. Jay-Z's cannabis brand goes up in smoke. Nice headline. Nice job. Bazinga.com. I'm not kidding.
Smoke weed every day.
Every day. Jay-Z's cannabis brand Monogram. I hadn't heard of this before. Launched in 2020.
Monogram.
Yeah,
okay.
Monogram, which is a single gram, right? 1 gram?
Yeah, it's a gram with kissing disease.
They call those Grammys, and now we have the music industry. Anyway, launched in 2020 amid glowing media coverage in GQ, Vogue, and Vanity Fair soon followed. However, 4 years later, Monogram seems to have vanished from the market, despite its luxury positioning, or perhaps because of it, which featured $50 OG hand rolls. Like, I assume that means, I don't know if Jay-Z had a hand in it or not, but
Yeah, probably not him. Somebody rolled him by hand.
premium packaging also. Monogram's website lists 9 retailers, 8 in California, 1 in Arizona, and yet none featured the brand's products online. The brand's parent company, TPCO.
So I love that the parent company is literally called the parent company.
The parent company, TCPO. That's kind of great and dumb. I think I like it.
Yeah, I kind of like it and hate it at the same time. Yeah, exactly.
Sort of hate it. But anyway, seems to be faring no better, noted SFGate, which is reporting the story. Monogram, in a recent merger of 3 cannabis companies that went public via special purpose acquisition company, or SPAC, seem to be in an unbeatable position, with board members including Michael Auerbach touting its massive cash reserves, and Jay-Z serving as the chief visionary officer, the CVO.
CVO.
Yeah, which sounds like cervical vagina offering. Anyway, what could go wrong? And then it happened. They entered the cannabis market with $575 million in cash, reported a staggering $587 million loss in 2022. And now the whole thing's gone to poop. The upshot of this is nobody wanted to pay for
expensive $50 hand-rolled doobies.
I don't know what they were thinking, because I think Mike Tyson's, like, his little fake ear gummies you can buy.
Yeah.
I think those are killing it. His cannabis company's doing great. Snoop Dogg's is doing great.
Wow.
Everybody's like making money on this new, like, it's legal in whatever states. Jay-Z you're Jay-Z, you could have done this.
Yeah. Just quit making it boutique pot and just make it pot.
Yeah, just make it pot, because I'm guessing. Well, I don't know anything about pot, but if somebody out there would be able to try it and go, yeah, this is bad weed, or this is just like any other weed.
Or
I'm not
it's
paying
just
$50
like
for
any
it.
other weed, but it's served in a $100 rolling paper.
Yeah, yeah, with the Beyonce lipstick on it or something. I don't know. Now that's how you do it. You get his wife Beyonce to, like, kiss the end of it.
Go.
Now you got a little, You know what I'm saying?
Wait, no one's possibly going to take that out of context.
No,
And,
you just got to kiss the end and send it on its way.
To kiss the end of it, and it'll be worth a lot more.
Here's a story about a Lyft driver in Colorado. Just kidding, this isn't you. It's not you. Lyft driver allegedly tried to scam a woman after an imaginary child peed on a seat. This is great.
Oh, no.
This is so great. I freaking love this. You might say Tammy Whitmer was taken for a ride after a literal ride. Who did this one? This is U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah.
Well, it's this. I'm carrying it, but yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's see here. Whitmer said her ride with the Lyft driver to Harrisburg International Airport and began and even ended eventually, like any other Uber or Lyft ride she's taken. She boarded her short flight to Philadelphia, and that's where, waiting for her connecting flight, she realized something was wrong. A series of messages from Lyft saying her driver indicated cleaning is needed after the ride to the airport, and she would be charged $40. I didn't know you could do this. Can you do this? Like if somebody...
Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, if somebody leaves a mess, I can say cleaning is needed, and it'll automatically... But I have to submit a photo of the evidence, and then they bill the rider. Usually happens with puking. Like it's $150 minimum cleaning fee for puking. I don't even know because I've got cloth seats. Like if somebody pukes in my car, do I take it to a car wash that's got the the water gun and I just
New car. That's
new
what you
car.
gotta do.
It's time to
Yeah.
to be sure.
Yeah, just hit the
It's the only way to be sure.
on the Lyft app, you just hit new car and they send you a new car.
New car, exactly. Yeah.
The lady said she gets this and her first thought was, "My gosh," and this is her quote, "I walked through the grass. Was there something on my shoes?" She looked at the bottom of her shoes. They were completely clean. They followed up with photos, which Whitmer showed to ABC 27 News. What she said appeared to be long, dried stains in the car's rear seat. Another photo showed a sign hanging on the back of the front seat, which she said wasn't there during her ride. So I don't know, she says, if this guy does this continuously and sends the same pictures, etc. Basically, the guy has a scam where he claims people have made a mess. In this case, said a little kid who was with you for the ride peed on the seat. There was no kid. There was no kid with her. She didn't have a kid.
Jeez. And I'm guessing the mention of another photo showed a sign hanging on the back of a front seat, which, okay, I'm guessing that's just the relevance of, oh, well, these are old pictures, as opposed to, well, what was the importance of the sign? Did it say, please don't pee on my seats?
Yeah, 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 exactly. I don't. Yeah, this is also really weird, but also, I'm guessing that Lyft has policies about this. So as soon as they figure out the driver's being a dick, it's no longer a Lyft driver. You're out.
Yeah, yeah.
I just hope she didn't end up paying. It doesn't say whether she ended up having to pay to work it out.
I'm guessing she didn't. I'm guessing that she was able to prove that it's pretty easy to be able to say, I don't have a kid. There'd be no reason for there to be a kid with me. Or, here's me at the airport. Maybe there's a way to say, yeah, you can see there's no extra ticket for a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way that she could prove that there wasn't a kid with her.
But the cleaning fee, if you did one of these, the $40 one, that fee does go to you because you're the one having to deal with it.
It goes direct. All of it goes to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like this guy's, like, I could see where the scam would come from. Like if you claim someone vomited and it's $150, I mean, that's pretty good money if you can fake it enough for Lyft not to notice. But it even says later in this article, they take it very seriously, and they look at both sides of this, and the driver, in this case, just didn't have a bunch of repeated damage claims, so that's why they thought it was all good. But they have refunded her.
Good.
Because she was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, blah, blah, blah.
No kid with me, blah, 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 yeah. I had a passenger I took years ago that I think I picked up from a swimming pool, and they sat in the back seat with wet swim trunks.
Yeah, like you do.
Like you do, but it left a residual, like when that dried, it left a residual like white,
like bleachy
kind of look to it. And I had to go and pick up some upholstery cleaner and scrub. I mean, I didn't realize I probably could have taken a picture of it and said, hey, you don't come in here with wet swim trunks.
Yeah, or bring a towel or something. Bring a towel.
Sit on. Don't forget to bring a towel. Sit on a towel or something. But
they probably thought it's just water, but it's chlorinated, and who knows?
Chlorinated and urinated and
and chlorinated pools. Publicly chlorinated pools are very chlorinated. So it's not like a minor amount of chlorine. It's not going to leave a stain, man.
Right. Exactly.
Gross.
Yeah.
You should get down and smell that now. See how it smells.
Not a chance.
Yeah. Not interested?
Not a chance.
Don't want to get in there?
Well, 2 years of other passengers have sat back there, so no.
Brian, I will give you $50 if you get crawl into the back of your seat. You got to film all this.
Yeah.
And then you got to get right in there's 2 seats back there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get back there and just nose right to the cloth upholstery and just and just breathe in, and then do the other one, all that in. $50 is yours if you do it.
No. It's less about worrying that I'm gonna catch something and more about just video of me ending up on the internet of me smelling the seat, because that could be used in so many bad ways. It's like
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Me needing
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's get the little question answer here. Unrelated to that. So yesterday I had a passenger in the car.
Yeah.
And picked her up. We start driving, and she starts sniffling, and she says, you don't have a Kleenex in here by chance, do you? And I reach into the center console, because I always have one of those little pocket pouches of Kleenex. And there were like 2 or 3 left in the little pouch. And I said, oh yeah, here you go. And I hand the pouch back to her. The whole pouch. I don't pull a Kleenex out and hand her the Kleenex. I give her the whole pouch. She blows her nose. And fortunately, she didn't leave the residual Kleenex in the car, thank goodness. But she just took the rest of the packet with her, and didn't even ask if she could.
Oh, man. That doesn't seem right.
Exactly. Like Like, because if she would have said, "Oh, here you go, here's the packet," I said, there's only 1 or 2 left in there. Take it because you might need it later. I would have been happy to do that.
Of course you would have. 100% you would have.
Because we got more of those packets here at the house.
Sure.
Would have replaced it instantly.
Sure.
But the fact that she didn't even ask is like, come on now.
I'm annoyed by that. That's a social contract break right there. I don't like it.
I think it is. I think it totally is. Yeah.
Put that on the list. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, my sister Wendi is back after a couple of weeks away. We have a very interesting discussion today based on an email that is also ripped from today's headlines.
Yay! Love ripping.
That's
headlines.
right. Go get your Luigi ready, everyone, because we're about to talk about it. All right, that'll be after this song break. Brian, you have a song to play?
Well, we're putting Wendi in the middle of a heavy rock sandwich because both our indie in the middle and our cover at the end are going to be rockin'. Let's start with this one. This is a post-punk band from Louisville called Photocrime, but it's spelled Fotocrime. This is, they even touted as their heaviest song to date. It's called Cautious, and it rocks, man. Big thanks to Clarion Call Media for sending this one over. This is, I think it's just a single. I don't see any mention of an album that's coming up. So this just sits on its own. Here you go. Here's the song Cautious from the band Photocrime.
Don't you dare sully this moment with your price taggery.
I wouldn't point fingers, you jerk.
Brian, tell me more about that rockin' song you just played.
Yeah, the song is called Cautious. The band is called Photocrime. It's a brand new single. Those guys are from Louisville. That's all you need to know.
Nice. Yeah, we're not going to dox them completely.
What else do you want from me, people?
Yeah. You want their home address? You want their number?
Yeah, my gosh. You need to know the names of the people in the band? I can find it for you.
I was just going to say, I don't know why this is, but for the last 2.5 days, your TDS stuff has been great. It's issues.
Been great. Yeah. I think whatever they did, they fixed something. I haven't restarted my computer in at least a week.
Jeez. That's pretty good.
Or the router. So I'm pretty sure it's got to be a TDS. Like, how long has this wire been kind of dangling loose?
Yeah, you got a wire on the floor. Figure that stuff out, guys.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody called in to say they were getting dropped internet for short periods of time.
Yeah, that all sounds about right. All right, you guys, get ready, sit back, enjoy.
Here's another Minnesota tradition that's not so easy to throw in the garbage.
That's right. That tradition being having my sister Wendi on the show. Hi, Wendi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Are you? That's good.
Good.
You were in Chicago doing cool Chicago things. How'd that go?
Fun city.
Yeah.
It was great. There was a cold spurt, and it was so easy to tell the locals from the not locals.
Yeah.
And we met some friends there that were in Kentucky, and they were dying, and we were like, oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. The Kentuckians are going to have no idea what that's like.
I know. I have thick blood now, people. It's weird. I feel like I have finally metabolically adjusted to this freezing weather, and so I can go out and just be like, this is refreshing. It's pretty wild. Like, it's -5 today, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of nice.
Well,
Nanook of the North are now.
Sure. We got that Swedish blood. It kicks in and
it does eventually. It's ticking a minute, but yeah good.
Well,
I'm doing well.
It's good to have you here. Of course, my sister is an actual therapist, a psychological wonder, really. And every Thursday or many Thursdays she comes on the show and talks to you guys about some of your issues and problems and questions and that sort of thing. And it feels like it's been too long, so I'm really glad that we're going to be doing this. So interesting that it happens to be on a week with such a weird thing going on psychologically and collectively that we got an email about it. So, Wendi, I'm going to just dive right in and read this thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. This is from somebody we're going to call SV. Like sports vehicle, I guess. Wondering if Wendi could talk about the psychology about this CEO shooter, specifically how a lot of people reacted to it. Almost happy, almost giving him hero status for doing something about our terrible insurance here in the U.S. or in the States. As you can see, I kind of lean in favor of what he did at least from a symbolic point of view. But I also see the problem with murder, regardless of why and who.
Well, good.
Yeah, that seems good. I'm glad you clarified that. I did see all these other companies pulling their executive info offline. only to have it all posted to Reddit because since they're public companies, it has to be disclosed. People want change, and this might start the process of getting it? ? Who knows? But was curious what it is about this that is different from any other targeted killing, says SV. And it was pretty palpable. It may have been mostly online palpable, right? That's a thing I feel like needs to be said because, I don't know that mom and pop America were all going, that's right, V for Vendetta, get him, brah! Like, I don't know if that was happening a lot, but I know online there was a bit of a thing.
Social media surge about, but, it's making change.
Yeah,
so it's not a bad thing.
For me, it's this simple, and then we'll dive into it. For me, it's this simple. I think that extrajudicial murdering of somebody on a street is bad, but I also think the slow, agonizing killing of thousands of people over time because your insurance company is screwing them at every corner, and they can't get the cancer meds they need, and they can't get the whatever, or they're being sent into a lifetime of debt and horrible inability to keep up with it because they're getting denied claims and that sort of thing. I also think that's really evil and bad. So I get why people feel this way, but I do think it is possible to have a nuanced opinion about it where neither is great, but it is important to read the room and understand why somebody might do this and why they, at least based on his quote-unquote manifesto, it's shorter than a manifesto, but his, what he said about what he did, if he indeed did it, we're still, we're in that part of the process where innocent until proven guilty and all that. But
exactly.
But whatever, if he did do it, I think this deserves more of a nuanced take. At least that's my opinion. So, Wendi, let's talk about the big weirdness of it and maybe why people reacted the way they did versus, say, if just some person was gunned down in the street. Why is it different than that and that sort of thing?
Yeah. Well, let's start with the best place to go for nuance is the internet. So
let's do it.
It sure is, yeah.
I would start with this. Well, first of all, he's local, right? He's from Minnesota. Well, while we were with these friends in Chicago, I kept dropping Minnesota fun facts, and they were like, "Wow, you really love it there." And I'm like, "I really do." Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Okay, enough." And then when I got home, I looked up. I don't know if you guys know this, but the future Dalai Lama is a high schooler here in Minnesota.
I didn't know that.
I didn't realize they knew who the future Dalai Lama is going to be.
Yeah, there was a kid apparently somewhere in, I don't know, nearer to where it's all, from. And he turned out to be quite a stinker. So I think they rescinded it. And so anyway, you should look it up. He's just a sweetheart, and he's like a linebacker. He's just the nicest kid.
How do they? I thought I've seen a King of the Hill episode where Bobby for a hot minute is the new Dalai Lama, and I thought that was kind of a joke, but it sounds like this may be kind of what they do. What do they hunt around and just go? Hey, I think
America's next Dalai Lama.
Like a vibe, and it's the first American ever to be chosen. His family immigrated here. Obviously, he's not.
Kind of amazed that you can have an American Dalai Lama.
Yeah. And he's just lovely, and they're trying to raise him kind of normalish, and then he'll start his whole deal. And so my friends are like, yeah, what other cool thing? Because they don't have a lot of cool Kentucky stories to share, to be honest. And so I was like, sorry to top it all off with the freaking Dalai Lama is in the high school 3 counties over.
Yeah. His name.
Anyway, so it's pretty funny. But
his
he
name
had
is
a big week.
His name is
CEO.
Kalka Jetson Dampa Rinpoche is his name. Anyway, go ahead.
He's got all the names.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes by that in high school, but anyway. So we had a big week, right? And then suddenly the CEO of United Healthcare, who is a Minnesotan local, because that company is from here.
Yeah.
And I didn't send them that to brag, to be honest. But wait, we also have been aware of a couple things. This might be the first time this is in the sort of big national news, right? But apparently the Star Tribune here, which is their main paper, there was a man who had cancer treatment and then was post facto denied all the insurance coverage for his cancer care and was given a bill of $155,000 for his cancer treatment from United Healthcare. So what happened was Star Tribune knocked on some doors and was like, excuse me, is this what's happening? And then they paid it, right? So this was in the news, I don't know, I can't remember when it was, a couple months ago or even maybe a little longer. And so you have, and this helps me understand this situation better. because we all have our own experience with health insurance, right? So if you're an American, or if you have been lucky enough to experience it outside of this country and get very confused when they just give you health care and you're like, well, who do I pay? And they're confused by your question, which has happened to me. You have had experience with a health insurance company either being helpful to you and making a situation better, or denying care, or denying, pre-Obamacare, you'd get denied if you had a weird diagnosis on your record that maybe was inaccurate, which happened to me. And so suddenly you can't get a new plan. I mean, it's a complex system that unfortunately does not favor the regular person who's just trying to live their life and then gets sick and needs help. I want to know one other thing. We're at our most vulnerable during those times too, right? Like your child is ill and you are trying to fight a monstrosity of a institution to try to get coverage, or you get denied, you don't know why. I mean, it's one of the cruelest things I think that is in American society. And when I talk to anyone who's never experienced this, they don't understand how barbarian we really are. And so I think, from everyone's own personal experience to what I think happens in this exact internet moment, right, which is a CEO. If you talk to people who feel like they're closer to the CEO, that they relate to that guy, oh, he's just doing his job, or, it's business, or because they're 2 steps away from a CEO position, or they relate to that world in a different way, or they have maybe never personally had any challenges with their health insurance. They've always had good coverage. They might just feel the empathy for that, because we should feel empathy for anyone who's lost a life and the sadness for his children. And, nobody wants anyone gunned down on any street ever. That's not what anyone wants. But that relating to which guy, I think, matters. So do you relate to the kid who, if you look at his history, he went to a great high school. He went to Penn State or whatever and did well, had a bunch of normal roommates, did lots of stuff, traveled a little bit. Like, he's just kind of a normal guy, and then got really into Ted Kaczynski. Is it Ted Kaczynski? Am I saying the right word?
Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Yeah. Got really big into his book.
He was also from Minnesota, right? Am I remember that right?
Yeah, what's with Minnesota? No? What's going on there? What are you guys doing?
The victims from Minnesota, not the shooter. Let's be clear. Dahli Lama and the victim. Get it straight. No, I'm sure we have. We got shooters. It's the winter, let's be honest. Yeah. We actually have a lot of writers from here, and someone was asking, like, pretty well-known writers, or, and they're like, well, what do you do in winter? You got to write,
Yeah, you can't go outside. Yeah.
Environmental. Anyway, so I want to jump off with that point of, like, who do you relate to, and what is it triggering for you when you hear this story? And what's actually alarming about the story, more than just that people are like, yay, someone died. That feels really cruel if you're just observing, right? But we also live in a world where people threaten each other's lives all the time online. Yeah. Right? Sometimes normal, respectable people will find themselves so angry, they will be death wishing and typing it in to someone they don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that phenomenon is pretty wild to me. And if somehow there was a way to find out whoever said every one of those things, it's just not a normal human behavior you can get away with face to face, right? Yeah. The internet has provided this space. So I think there's a bit of that. You would not be laughing at the widow or the children in their faces.
Of course not.
Probably not. However, what's happening is violence and death are so removed from us, for the most part, if you're lucky, that the realness of that maybe isn't striking you. And what overrides that is your own pain, your own loss, your own feeling robbed or ripped off or harmed, or the deaths you've experienced because health insurance did not cover good care, or your child was not able to, I've read a few things of just people's, a dying child not transferred to a new hospital because the transport's not covered. And that transport's $1,000, right? And people can't live their lives and save their families in ways that just seem so logical, like a scan won't be covered or whatever it might be. And you're battling in your worst moments of your life, in grief and pain and stress, with what feels like the greediest monolith in the world, right?
Yeah.
So
it's very relatable, right? Like the stuff about
more
his
so
mom.
than most things.
Yeah, his mom. Like when you hear about somebody gunning somebody down, most of the time it's like, oh, they got a weird conspiracy. They took it too far. They believed that the pizza place had kids trapped under it and they were going to get trafficked. And you buy into something and then you get really hooked on the concept of it and then you take it too far. That's usually the MO here. And that's not very relatable. We don't like to relate to people who go nuts on conspiracies. But this isn't a conspiracy. This is a guy who is watching his mother suffer and not get any of the claims that supposedly she was due and all this sort of stuff. It's very relatable and very human to be super pissed about that. So I think, that has to have a factor here, right? That it's
100%.
It's not him going, I heard the Jews have a laser that are aimed right at it's not that. It's not this. No. It's different than that. It's a practical thing that bipartisanly, we all can look at the healthcare system, most of us, and acknowledge that this is not great. This is not great at all, right? And you saw some of that this week. You saw people who normally, the only people I see siding with United Healthcare are gigantic CEOs of other multi-million-dollar companies who are also millionaires because they're scared. I mean, one in particular is walking around with his kid on his shoulders all the time, suddenly out of nowhere, which feels very human shieldy. But whatever.
Jeez. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, very gross. But my point is, like when they're the only ones saying this is a problem, or they're the ones going, I can't believe a depraved act of this and that and the other, and everyone else is going, read the room, chief. Like maybe it's one thing you can condemn the murder, 100%, absolutely should. To the furthest extent of the law, you do all you can to not have people murdering each other. But you cannot ignore cause with the effect here, I don't think.
Right. And you're proving my point exactly, right? Like if which guy is relatable to you? Which of us are making business decisions that we know harm people on the daily for money? Like that's a lot of businesses. It's not nobody.
Oh,
and so you're like, he's got the hard calls to make. And, so you will justify whoever you see yourself most like, potentially, right? And so that's happening. Someone just took a life. Is this the best way to get something to change? Here's what concerns me is what changes other than CEOs go underground. I don't know what this changes. I do know the Star Tribune can go and publicly humiliate them, and they will pay that $155,000 bill.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah, that worked.
So I don't know what the outcome of this other is. Obviously an incredible amount of attention. And, I had an interesting experience when this first happened. I was talking to Elliot just about it. He brought it up and he's just like, that is so sad. Like, this is the innocence of a child, right? Like he's thinking about the kid,
right?
The kids of this guy. And he's like, and he was such a good person. And I said, Elliot, why do you think he's a good person? He's like, well, he's in healthcare. I was like, oh, honey, he's not like a doctor saving lives.
Yeah.
But I think it illustrates actually a decent way of understanding like what the world might feel like until you don't benefit from the privileges you are used to. Right. So when people are like, I don't understand why you're in so much pain. It's like, well, that is a statement of privilege. That means you've never been discriminated against, or you've never had these other things happen to you. So you think the way it is fine, right? And this was an example of, to me, it's a little French Revolutionary vibe. So, for example, I don't know that you've seen this chart, but I should double check to make sure it's actually real. However, but just sort of the wealth gap during the French Revolution and what we have in the United States now is about the same. Like it's rough, right? And so you're going to have so many people, regular people, middle-class people who could pay their healthcare bills if, they're reasonable, are suddenly having like a friend of a friend was in the hospital with some kind of necrosis in his brain. It was from pneumonia. I mean, what the crap? No one knew what they were doing. You wouldn't believe the amount of money was spent to figure this out. I was like, you got to go on House. House will do it. They will figure it out.
1 hour.
Fun 5 minutes, right?
Done in 1 hour with commercials. Yeah.
$300,000 later, it can be treated by intense antibiotics and IVs, and then they send them home. And you're like, that's just like Thanksgiving afternoon. Like, you're screwed now.
Mm-hmm.
And that cannot just be the way we live life. So something obviously has to change. Is this move us towards that? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I do hope everyone feels a twinge of like, oh, I'm a little too excited about this. Maybe. Just and also recognizing like it's also okay to have all the feelings, right? It tells us something. No one's wishing anyone dead, but are we also like, hey, maybe it's not just sucky to be the person who can't afford life,
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah, no, I mean, part of me hopes it moves some needle in discussion and possible policy change and all of that.
Yeah.
I could get into all the reasons why I'm not that confident about that, given where we're at the very moment. But, this sort of thing does have a way. Like if you look at any kind of violence in the face of somebody being oppressed, okay, and you can say, well, no, it's not the same as oppression. It is if you're dying of cancer and you're screwed, and your whole family is going to be destitute for the rest of their lives, and you're not getting the health care you need, and you may die early as a result. When it happens to you, you'll feel different. I feel this way with just simple stuff. I have some meds my doctor has me on that when I go in to get them checked, every time I'm a little nervous because I'm afraid Aetna's going to go, this time we don't know. We don't know if we're doing it. Because they did that before. And then they'd come back, okay, yeah, we'll let it go. Like you're beholden to a system you have zero input or control over. And all it is luck. How bad are you going to get it? Are you one day going to have pancreatic cancer? And sorry, you went out of network for that one trip to the hospital. That's 10 grand right there. Here's another 100 grand for this thing you didn't know, but that doctor wasn't the one at the ER that you were supposed to seek out. Like all this jumping around through hoop stuff. When you're in that position, you consider lengths that maybe other people wouldn't consider in polite society to try to get change. That's what this kid did. I still think it's wrong. But I'm sorry, if you look at this from a historical perspective, that's how every major thing gets done is somebody does something violent somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's how you do it, but I'm saying this is what you get when the system's like this. You can't do this for this long and not expect some of this to happen.
When it's proven that it works and it's a horrible way of doing things, that gets overshadowed by it. Well, but it works.
Right.
And that's unfortunate.
And I've got this there's this quote going around, thou shalt not kill also means thou shalt not profit margin or let profit margins decide who lives or dies. Like that to me sums it up. I don't want anyone murdered. I also don't want all these people to die in a legal way. In a legal evil way. You know what I mean? Like the system's so effed. So I hope something changes. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
but
it needs to, because let's be clear with some numbers here. 40% of all bankruptcies in the country cite medical debt. Medical bills account for 40% of the bankruptcies. We're bankrupt. I mean, that's crazy. 15 million Americans have medical debt. And half the reason some people don't have medical debt is because it's just impossible. And there are systems trying to be in place to write that debt off. I mean, the amount of choice that the insurance company has, like you're describing, Scott, in order to tell us they'll cover something or not. And you talk to, the whistleblowers at any of these places, they're like, yeah, sometimes we're told to lose every third paper, right? Mm-hmm. Or, there's long been in the insurance markets and, an incentive to not cover people. Like that's
how you make your money.
All that money is made.
Exactly.
But there seems to be no roof to the greed involved in that. There seems to be no heart in that. And I think that's what is so frustrating, especially when we have all of these other countries doing this fairly well. And, and so that's really tricky. I think there's if it's affordable or we're not thinking about it too much or, a little bit of just when it's not me, this isn't on my mind. Mm-hmm. But if any of you, raise your hand, and my hand's very high, have had to use public health insurance, use the marketplace, whatever one, and you have a $10,000 deductible and $150 copays everywhere you go, you don't get health care. You just don't do
you
it.
You avoid it.
So
you quit going
you
because
avoid it.
you have a pain in your chest and you say to yourself, oh man, I'm in my 50s. Probably something I should get checked out. It's been here 2 weeks of this pain. And all you can think about is, I'm not going to go devastate my family. I'm not going to do it. And so you avoid it.
Right.
And so you don't go, and then people die and have either that or they develop worse health situations. I mean, Wendi, I know you're familiar with this, but for the longest time, the pre-existing condition thing, which I still get in my entire life, I will never understand how the pre-existing condition thing was ever a thing. How it was ever allowed. Yeah. Because guess what? Wendi had a mad ball growing in her when she was little and had surgery. And when that thing came out, you suddenly had a pre-existing condition that showed up on everything. And it didn't matter. Well, guess what?
My children born with pre-existing conditions forever.
It's insane.
Hot dogs growing out of the outside of his stomach. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if they roll that back, we're all hosed. We're so hosed. Because everyone's got one now. We all have pre-existing conditions of some sort.
Gene had cancer. I have whatever it is, apnea. It's like, okay, all these qualify as pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, so we can't cover you. Or if you want to get covered, you got to go to the other tier. That's a $20,000 deductible.
God.
Hope you never have a baby. Like freaking.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to our friends in Chicago about what we paid for each of our kids being born. We both have 4 kids. Their kids are a little older than ours. I paid $100 for my first child, born with birth defects and challenges, and then I paid $90,000 for my last child with birth defects. Fortunately, I had some supplementary insurance, so it only cost $5 or $10, I can't remember, but it was awful. And look at the number; they're 9 years apart. It went from, and that's because I went from a company-based insurance to the public market, and that's just the reality there. So any creative endeavor, any self-employment, any not working for a giant conglomerate, you don't get the luxury of health. You just have to sacrifice that. So I always think from a business perspective, don't we want more innovation? Don't we? Makes me crazy when I really think about it. And so when we look at what solves something like this, what solves this? Like there's a psychology to it. I mean, that's why we're talking about it, at least with me, is like, okay, we relate to one or the other more. The fury we're all kind of walking around with, generally this is a release of some of that. It's our own personal stuff shows up, but what has to happen is a collective change, right? Like something different has to go on. What would it even be? I want you guys to solve this. Ready? Go. What do you think? Because I blame freaking Nixon, because in 19 whatever, that dude, we have recordings of this actual conversation where they are deciding whether to tie health insurance to companies and employment or to offer a more global plan. By the way, we have an amazing what do you I forget what they call it, but healthcare plan that's state subsidized. It's called Medicare. Go find an old person you love and find out how incredible their freaking coverage is, because it's incredible. Yeah. For the most part. And that is universal. Yeah. So it's anyway, I get you got to fund stuff. I get there's, but people are smart. We could figure this out. Anyway, but Nixon made that decision back in the day and was like, let's tie it to employment.
I think he actually said, let's tie it to employment.
So I know where it started. I'd like you guys to solve it. What do you got?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is the problem, right? Like, it's not easy, and it's not easy because massive amounts of money are involved. If it wasn't, there would be change. Like if this was not profitable, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's it. So how do we make it not profitable? We just don't have a lot of control in that regard as individuals, certainly, or even collectively. I mean, this is why, for those who see this dude as a guy who made a heroic move, that's why they see it that way, because they think we're kind of out of options. So it's easy to say, well, what he did was wrong, and that's just patently wrong. That's not going to get us any further. The point of it was, well, we're out of what else is there? Like, you do come to that point in societies at some point. We did it by rebelling against the British and then fighting them in the streets for it, I wouldn't call that a peaceful transfer of ideas. It happens all the time. History's littered with it. And sometimes everyone's got their line. If a guy breaks into your house and threatens your kids and he's got a bat, you will physically do whatever it takes to wipe that dude out. You'll do it because you want to protect your kids. Well, for some people, that's the only line. For other people, they're like, well, they're coming after my kids because my daughter has leukemia and we are $4 million in debt and cannot even afford her house payment. And we're now going to be homeless because we can't afford her treatments. We're just going to have to let our daughter die. Is that your line? Like, I get, I don't want to get in the head of one individual who did a thing, but I get why this line is going to be different for people who have experienced this sort of thing. And if you haven't, well, then you're coming from, like Wendi said, a position of privilege. And you know what? I don't wish it on you. I hope you never have to deal with it. I hope you never have to even...
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be. I hope you never have to deal with it. But there's a very good chance you will in some way. And I don't care what party you're in. This thing has no party. Like, you may think they do, but they don't. There's no party to this. This is everyone is screwed. So if a conservative dude in Texas... has lousy insurance with his companies with, hardworking guy, been doing it his whole life, contributing to it. It doesn't matter. He's going to get screwed just as easily as some, lefty living up in Maryland and has the same bad luck befall him with some cancer diagnosis or something else. Like, we're all in this. We got to stop separating that and going, it's each other's fault. Red, blue, bah, bah, bah. No, this is like speaking of universal, right? This is a universal healthcare problem. Universally, it's ours. So I'm just saying he shouldn't have killed a dude, but I get why he did it. To answer, I've avoided to answer your question. I don't have a way to solve it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I got no solution.
I mean, you illustrated it for sure. And one thing to think about, and this feels like we're all Florida now, right? Which is cancer rates. I mean, 1 out of every 2 people will experience cancer sometime in their lifetime. And 70% of cancer people who get cancer will survive, right? We're doing good on the treatment. But if all your life savings is gone, that's a rough survival, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. At what cost? Survive, but at what cost?
Right. What cost? And then the cancers that can give you 5 years of life with great treatment. Like there's health is common for everyone. And when you're, young, you don't maybe feel it quite the same, but you do when you get older and you maybe spend an afternoon in a hospital with a loved one and you have some realizations of just what it takes to keep us going and then not to feel like we can be insured anymore in a way that feels doable is just simply not sustainable for, and that's what's maybe interesting about this too, is just the swath of people, because everyone can relate for the most part. I'm sure there's people who can't. But people have had moments where their insurance covers it and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Because you'll sometimes see the real numbers and it is mind blowing. And so there's that piece. Okay, Brian, you get a chance. What's your solution to that?
I got nothing.
I mean, as Brian, I mean, thankfully Tina had amazing insurance and stuff, but you've been through a situation where it's all just luck and happenstance that you guys were in the position you were when it happened, right?
Totally. If it were to happen a year from now, right? Like, who knows what that landscape is going to look like. And would we have the same opportunities available to us that we had 8 years ago when Tina was diagnosed?
Yeah, we should have. Yeah, 2017's that felt long ago now.
Yeah,
but it feels like we just should have. This shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a thing now. It just shouldn't be a thing. Modern society shouldn't be a thing. Look, I get it. The amount of money on the line, because money is king, is what it will keep it this way for, and it will make it very resistant to change. So that's why I don't have an answer.
They make it free. Yeah, make it free. That solves all our problems. I mean, yeah, it solves the consumer's problems, but there's other things. Where do companies get that money? Taxes, or is it a federally funded
or the exact system right now? Give people the coverage you promise them when they pay into you, and don't find reasons to deny people and then hope they don't go talk to a prominent paper and then go, oh shit, better pay it so we don't get in trouble for this. Like, that's where my biggest beef isn't that the system itself is inherently broken. You could make that argument. My problem is that they are arbitrary about it. And they could cover things that they don't because they just are like, we need our quota to be this. Like, the whole thing's based on a profit system, not on we are a good resource for people to count on and trust. If they pay into us, we pay out the claims. It's that simple. Like, auto insurance doesn't cheat like this. They don't.
No. They don't come up with, well, your tire was slightly underinflated, so I'm sorry, we can't cover this accident.
You know what?
That was free.
Yeah, you had
existing condition.
I noticed you spilled a Slurpee in the back seat about a month ago before this accident. It's in the bylaws. You can't
that was pee from an invisible child. Sorry,
exactly, right? Well, when you lift, you do it. But anyway, the point is like that kind of nitpickiness is very exclusive to health insurance and in some ways life insurance, mostly health insurance. And why? It's not hard to find out. That kind of thing makes them tons of money. I got a note from somebody who says my sister is in the big insurance company, fairly high up, has a massive house, makes a lot of money for this company. And I don't remember the insurance. It wasn't Universal, somebody else. This isn't just them. They're just kind of notorious. And she got really drunk one night at a party and said, I'm responsible for at least 8 people dying that I know of.
Oh my God.
And then kept drinking. And I guess that house is big enough and cool enough and worth it enough. Like that, you have to have a certain kind of conscience to let that stuff slide.
Or none whatsoever.
Yeah. It's really gross. Like, it's disgusting. Yeah. And but also it's systematic for that person. They've slowly built to a place where now that's a thing. It's not just simple as one day blood's on your hands. It's a slow, I mean, I couldn't live with that. Also, it just sounds like boring work and I would never want to do it. But knowing that, like, we just got to freaking, I don't know, man. I'm not saying let's all go kill CEOs, but I don't know what the answer is.
That's not the solution, but there has to be another one.
And to the point of this whole discussion, you can see why he had it in his head that this was the only way. That's all I'm saying. I can relate to it and still condemn it. That's all I'm saying.
And as a young person, we have enough research on how they think about things and how they have less hope in their own futures than any generation before them. Both, the average get your first house in America now, you're age 37. That is old compared to what every other generation before could do. And so you start to have less and less faith in some system they're asking you to put all this trust in and all your money towards. And you're like, and then my mom can't get any care or, whatever it might be. Like there's more desperation. Again, French Revolution. But I think there's another factor here that I think is important because I know there's a European listening who's like, well, we pay high taxes. And you don't even know. And sometimes I have to wait for things. And I just want to let all of them know how much I have to wait for things and pay for it. By the way, that's a thing. But it's very much like the solution for the United States is not going to look just like any European country who started a very different thing and have their own issues, right? This isn't a direct comparison, but it is cruel to our citizens to allow such unbelievable wealth go to the hands of a few while you're harming the many. And that right there, I think is the thing that, it just has to change. I know this is not an answer, but ethics are just missing in so many places, and holding ourselves accountable and just, I feel like the revolution really needs to be a little bit more moral than anything else. And I get it. Once you have stuff, you don't want to give it up. That's human nature. So that giant house, and you get drunk enough to tell everyone you killed 8 people. She went to work Monday.
Yeah.
Like
she's still there.
There's going to your grave with something, or, the cognitive dissonance. How do we handle it? Well, we go on fun vacations or have my houseboat. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a way that the rich will perpetually be able to tolerate that dissonance. And we all have it a little bit, right? But this feels so big and a moment. So I'm interested to see if anything comes from it. I have honestly thought on multiple occasions I want to quit my job and do nothing but fix insurance in this country.
You'd be a hero
really.
if you did.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is when I was younger and had a lot more energy and was really, 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 really mad and getting really screwed all the time and feeling like just like it was never going to be fair. Obamacare really helped with that, like really helped. And I love that no one, they called it Obamacare to make it a bad thing, and then people forgot.
Yeah, no,
It's crazy.
I have a neighbor who literally relies on the Affordable Care Act, but demands they get rid of Obamacare. And
you're like, honey,
I'm like,
child,
buddy.
So that's why I only refer to it as Obamacare.
I know it's impossible to separate the politics of it. That's just burned into it, that whole issue. But it's just like, can we knock it off? We're just, who's... I could go off on this for a long time. But
do it. Say it.
We're just like, we are so puppets to, and pitted against each other to distract us from the real problem, which is mega millionaire billionaires who just want their way. And the best way to keep us in line is to have us at each other's throats. Because then we're distracted from what's really actually going on. And I don't know the answer. We're all oligarchy now. We got it going on, man. There's tons of it. It sucks. I hate it. It's also historically accurate that we're repeating a lot of mistakes that 300-plus-year-old empires make. And boy, it's sure fun having little grandbabies you want to see do well their whole lives and know that they're, I'm trying to be optimistic. And I am overall. I do think history's a rising road. I say it all the time. I do believe it.
Yeah.
But man, some of the dips are dips. Some of them are just
man. Can I
what
give you a
are we
little
doing?
hope?
Yeah, go.
I'll give you a little hope. This is so small. But, hold on to the grains of sand. I've said that I spent a lot of time the week after the election just talking with people about their own spheres, their actual power, reminding everyone of, and this is on both sides, by the way. This isn't, they also, everyone's got their own experience, right? And was feeling frustrated, even if winning, right? Still feeling like, why won't my kid talk to me? Stuff like that, right? And so I had a session the other day that just warmed my cold, dead heart with a woman and her parents in their 80s, and just had this lovely exchange about how their vote harms her and her queer child. And we went into some facts, and we talked about some feelings, and they really genuinely didn't know for sure if they thought Trump was a rapist or not, stuff like that. You're like, oh, right, because you get your own news source, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So we went through back and forth, and everyone it was the most lovely. Nothing's totally solved, obviously, right? But it's people talking and caring more about their own relationship and trying to understand one another and find common ground and heal. And I just kind of thought I would never see that. So that just felt really good. And I say that because that's my little tiny sphere.
Because it's you on the ground with what you have. That's exactly right. I believe in this big time lately. It's like just you. That's all you've got.
My one place I can say I'm not letting that dude ruin one more family on my watch. I'm not going to do it.
Right. And
it's hard work. It is not the easiest conversations to have. It's but it is it's something. And so I guess if there's anything here, it would be to band together and let's all meet at just kidding. No, what's in your sphere? What thing can you do? What hope can you find? I also recommend everyone just turn off all of their news watching, and especially around January 1st, and don't turn it back on.
No, I'm in full ignore mode. Years. I am so in ignore mode right now. I'm not even gonna.
And then do the good, right? Like, don't just ignore it and watch great TV, because honestly, great TV is available.
There's some great TV.
There's some good stuff out there. Sure.
Oh my heavens! But really do something with your energy.
Yeah, do something good. Do it on the ground. Do it with who you got, and quit fighting each other. Freaking, it's the only way this changes. Actually, so my answer to your question is everybody stops fighting each other and everybody puts their attention on fighting collectively. And I don't mean shooting people in the streets, but fighting against these systems that are designed to divide us. That's all.
And one thing we nobody knows here, maybe
we're hard at scale. Yeah,
the mega wealthy, but the mega wealthy think they're part of this too.
Oh, sure, some of them do.
The feeling is like, yeah, let's get them, and you're like, hold on, you're one of them. No, and that's part of this feeling that feels so universal, is that it kind of touches everybody.
Yeah, it touches more people.
I don't know any CEOs like, you know what, I am better than everyone, and I'm an oligarch and an overlord. That's probably not what anyone's thinking. They're like, I got to get a bunch of reports done and go ski in Aspen this weekend.
Yeah,
That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, and all I'm thinking is I got way too many shows today. I hope I don't get cancer because we're screwed if I get it.
Yeah, you really cannot.
No, just take me. If it happens, I'll be like, all right, well, who's pulling the cord? Take straws. Let's do straws. Carter got the short straw. Shoot. Well, she's not going to be happy about that, but.
And the doctor's like, Scott, it's just, we can remove it. Relax.
Yeah, and I'll say, yeah, for how much? How much? And will my insurance cover it?
I'll do it for cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, that's great. I love that, Wendi. All right. Well, as always, good stuff for people to chew on and think about. We'd love to hear your feedback on it. So keep that stuff coming. In the meantime, Wendi, as we hurtle toward the holiday, I hope you're feeling good about all that and having a good time, and I hope the kids are good and all that stuff. Anything else you want to say, promote, talk about, anything else?
Yes. I mean, it's so close. Oh my gosh.
Something's very close, guys.
I probably have lied 1 billion times, but February is truly the start date.
It's the magical time.
Kick in the can. She's good.
Yeah.
She started in September, moved to January. Then I realized no one can start in January. I can't start. That's crazy. So we're starting February. All the things coming. You're never going to stop hearing about it once it's ready, which will be probably next week or the week after. So
cool.
Yeah. So No Better You. Right now there's a really lame landing page. Real lame. So just know that's not it at all. Okay. And I will let you know the good stuff soon.
Excellent. We'll have a fantastic week. I don't know. Are we going to see you next week? Next Thursday is normal Thursday, isn't it?
It's normal for me.
Okay. Yeah, the week after that we're off. But next week we'll get one more chance with Wendi to see if we can change the world. We'll see you then.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right. Good stuff. Got a little fired up, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
A little fired up.
That'll be good.
I agree. Brian, we're done.
Yes, sir.
However, things coming up today. Coverville, let's talk about it. What are you doing?
It's Christmas. It's time for the Christmas episode. So covers of Christmas songs, a lot of them by request, but some stuff that I jammed in there, including a cover by Robin Adele Anderson, a vocalist for a one-time vocalist for Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox, Nora Jones, Ben Folds, Erasure, No Doubt, Kristen Hirsch, Ronnie James Dio, Phantom Planet. I mean, there's so much coming up that it's hard to pick what your favorite thing is, because it's all going to be your favorite. That's coming up at noon Mountain Time, twitch.tv/Coverville. And I'll be playing some Snap.
Oh, good. That's awesome. What deck are you playing with then?
Professor, it's called Professor Xavier is a Jerk.
Oh, wow.
And the reason it's called that is because it's a famous Paul Smith splash page from an issue of X-Men where Kitty Pryde is pissed off that she's getting relegated to the X-Babies, i.e. the New Mutants, and not part of the full X-Men team. And so the whole splash page of that issue is Kitty Pryde looking at the viewer, the reader, and saying, Professor Xavier is a jerk.
I mean, it kind of is in some ways.
Kind of is.
Yeah. He does some stuff that he gets away with a lot because he's in charge, but come on.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a Kitty Pryde
that's
heavy
awesome.
deck that, yeah.
Well, let's say you don't like music and you're like, I'd rather hear about video games. Well, then we have an alternative at noon, which is Core. So if you love music, Coverville, do it. If you love video games, do that. If you love both, pick one and then watch the other one later or listen to the other one later.
Yeah.
But Core's at noon today as well. And today's kind of an interesting day because we're going to do a regular episode at noon like normal. And then tonight, I think 5:30 they start. 5:20 we'll start the stream. We're going to do a live Core co-stream of the Game Awards this evening. and do that throughout its run like we do every year. So if you would like to do that, I'm going to be on air a lot today. I'm trying to prepare myself mentally for an exhausting coverage day. We'll see how it goes. So that's tonight, 5:30, and of course noon for Core, noon for Coverville. All the best things happen at noon today. So check
People
it out.
could easily just have a nice little musical background to Core, and then just turn me off when I start talking, and turn it on.
Yeah, just have a little background, or pause us. It's on YouTube, so you can pause and it'll say stay where you are. Yeah. So you can even live, so you can listen to Brian talk for a second. Background the music, hit play again, off you go.
It's why we do it as podcasts. Listen to them anytime. Maybe you don't even have time to listen to either one today. Listen to them when you have time. They're fun. They'll be great. Both things, awesome stuff.
That's right. And vote for us at podcastalley.com.
Vote for me in the podcast awards.
That's
Labor
right.
of love, but maybe not this year.
Maybe not this year. All right, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks, everybody, for listening. If you'd like to contact us, get a hold of us, do all kinds of cool stuff, find it all at frogpants.com/TMS. We will now leave with a song, probably a request. I don't know.
It is indeed a request, and I promised you some more metal. This is the metalist of the metal. This is from a request from Michael Power, who says, I am turning 52 years old today. That's December 12th. Every year past 50, I'm surprised that I'm still standing. I am trusting the covermaster can play I'm Still Standing, originally by Elton John, covered by Mystic Prophecy. Mystic Prophecy!
I don't know who that is, actually. I've never heard of him.
I don't either, but you're gonna love it. It's heavy. And then he asks, can I get a chicken cheddar ranch? And I say, even though he called it the wrong thing, I still say we give him a tender crisp bacon cheddar ranch.
Yeah, let's get that right.
It's a tender crisp bacon cheddar ranch.
Pretty close, though. Close.
Pretty close. You got a couple of the words right. We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
All right. From their album Monuments Uncovered from 2018, here is Mystic Prophecy and I'm Still Standing.
Oh, looks like someone just got their ears caught in the audio cookie jar at frogpants.com.
Oh, you watching?
Yes, Jeff Goldblum, I am.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.